Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the KULT Divinity Lost role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is The Black Madonna. It is available from Helmcast. I am the game master, and this is episode 12. So, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Okay, at this point in the game, you are all at your headquarters. You've planned your trip to Leningrad via car tomorrow. What are you guys doing? It's dinner time.
Packing, having a bite to eat.
Maybe we're all just sat around a really small table eating uncomfortably.
Eating more takeout. I've got my little Russian phrase book that I've been trying to figure out how to say thanks and excuse me so that I don't make an unnecessary spectacle of myself in public.
Well, I noticed that you're reading that, and I say a few words in Russian to you, teacher. That is how you pronounce it, my friend.
Yeah, that tongue.
It's all about pronunciation. I have to be frank with you while we're eating this, whatever we're eating right now. It looks disgusting. Well, none of you are stupid, so you know that I am not German. I am, in fact, Russian. I'm pretty sure you have gathered that between yourselves. But the only issue I have to bring this up is because going into Russia, it's going to be more dangerous, especially with me with you. I am ex-KGB. I say ex, I defected. So showing my face in Russia, especially if they notice me, is going to be very dangerous. My name is not Dieter Weber, obviously. That is the name of a man who, yes.
It was an available identity, you're saying?
Available because I made it available.
Right.
Let's leave it at that. Also, because I have a fear I might run into my ex-wife Anya here as well. I do wish to see her once, especially if this could lead to more danger. But my real name is Andrei Vizchenko.
Nice to meet you, Andrei.
Yes. I have done horrible things, and I have regretted them. And you are all nice people, and you can part ways with me when we get into Russia if you deem fit, because I do not know what will happen if they figure me out.
Well, as it turns out, I think being seen with you anywhere at this point would be bad, Russia or otherwise.
That is
and in
true.
fact, I couldn't be seen with Diedrich or John or Petra or myself. So
that's true, but at least in Russia they do not know who you are. Well, I hope majority of them do not know who you are.
I have to say, Andre, if you think I am a nice person, you don't know me very well at all.
I know you are not a nice person, but you have been nice to me, Petra. We have seen eye to eye on this journey, mainly because we are in similar business.
I appreciate the situation this puts you in, Andre, and I'm sorry for it. But we're not going to abandon you.
I don't know what the KGB policy is on defection, but I assume that you'd be sent off to Siberia in a small box.
Yes, or shot on sight. It depends.
You'll be taken care of. Mm-hmm.
I did on my way take documents with me, so.
Right.
I'll poke him with an umbrella.
Yeah.
I will just have to try and keep more of my head down because, I could run into any former colleague, I guess.
Yeah, so I take it this wasn't the sort of defection that the Olympic athletes do. Despite
No.
the fact that you brought over documents, you weren't exactly welcomed with open arms.
No, I was not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sorry to put you back in the frying pan.
It is okay. It's almost relieving to be a bit more honest with you all, but now that I've come to know, especially Ingolf Dietrich and John, a bit more, I feel I can share with you for a tiny bit more. Especially since you guys have been going for a lot more than what myself and Petra have been going with your marks and all that. Another strange thing that happened during my defection, maybe I never noticed it, but if you've ever seen the tattoos I have on my skin, that seemingly occurred then. I never recall before, but maybe they were there all along. I never knew.
I do remember them, and I have to say, when I saw them several months ago now, it didn't occur to me to be anything other than youthful indiscretion, but now after everything that we've seen.
Yes. But all I will say is I can teach you what I know. Maybe I can't make you all fluent in Russian, but because some of you will be better at learning than others, but I can help you with some phrases and maybe do some of the speaking.
And I suppose we should keep calling you Dieter, at least in public.
That was
In
going to be my
public,
question.
yes.
Yeah.
I guess it might definitely not Andre, that is for sure.
No reason to confuse or invite inquiry
Well,
traveling
honestly,
under that name.
when addressing each other in public, we shouldn't be using our names anyway.
Oh, that's true.
That just invites trouble.
Right. We should.
It's so easy to forget that we're just wanted by the.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not used to it, certainly.
I think the upside of being wanted outside of Russia is they don't know that I am Andrei Vitchenko. They know I'm Dieter Weber, but
Right, but Dieter Weber is also wanted internationally, so we
exactly.
I guess we need to determine what names we're traveling under.
I arranged paperwork for everyone. I have vague memories of Ingolf wishing to be called Hank.
Yeah, that stood out to me as well. I figured it was some
from America
country western fetish that he has. The only Hank I know of is Williams. Are there others?
I saw an American TV show once growing up.
Could you arrange a Swiss passport for me? I don't want to pretend to not speak German natively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know enough Russian to get by. And John, I think, were you just going for a different German identity as well?
I mean, I could speak a smattering of Russian, but not enough to be fluent by any means.
Okay.
That'll be helpful, though. I envy you that.
Niet.
It will make sense
for
me to have another Russian identity rather than German, because they will see through my accent a lot quicker than Germans would see through my.
I really the only language I speak well is German, so.
Well, then, Andre, you are the master of disguise.
I am the master of disguise, so maybe I have a really posh accent or an English accent. Part of my master of disguise, you see, I can just sound like this whenever I want.
Well, if you're going to affect a posh accent, maybe don't dress yourself up in rubbish.
When we get to it, I have in my duffel bag here. I have many clothes. I have suit and everything. Petra, don't worry.
Nothing looks fresher than a suit that comes out of a duffel bag.
Oh, you'd be surprised, Dietrich. You'd be surprised. I have fooled many a people.
Well, we are counting on all of our abilities to be discreet, which I think is one thing we have in common.
I mean, I've been unknown my entire life, and now my big publicity break might sell a lot of books now for my publisher. It won't do me a damn bit of good.
That's true. It's true. You might finally reach the top 10 list, but you won't see a penny of it. A pfennig.
So the evening wears on. You guys drink a little. You guys talk a little. Eventually, you guys go to bed. In anticipation, you're hoping that tonight you will continue your training. And in fact, after you lay there and struggle a little bit with the irritating itch that still is there, but it's not quite as bad as it was, eventually fall asleep. When you wake up, once again, you find yourself on this little hillock with the big tree, and the wanderer is sitting there under the tree, and he opens up his eyes and he looks at you and he says, "Oh, excellent, you're all here." He says, "We have one final lesson to teach you. This might take a while, and then I have a final test to see how well you've done. Tonight, or I guess it is tonight, it's the next couple of weeks, I'm going to teach you how to create something out of nothing, which is one of the hardest little tricks to do. So far, you transforming things is probably the easiest. You've managed that all. Some of you now have the ability to transform someone else into something, which is you'll have to be creative as how you want to use these things. But creating something out of nothing, and he just sort of like this, and a sword appears in his hands, is a little more tricky. He therefore begins to teach you, and it's tricky and it's hard, and it takes you weeks of dream time in order to learn this. Now that you've got these abilities, now, did one of you raise yourself enough two soul or three soul yet? Okay. So, Dietrich, you're up to 3. You're going to learn then how to bring somebody else into your dreams as well. And transform another. Okay, so you've got that too. And Andre, you said you're at 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at 2.
But Petri, you're still not. Okay, so at 2, you can transform another, but you can't bring anybody into the dream with you. All right, knowing what you know now, and it's been weeks, dawn is coming in the real world, so you'll be waking up soon. But I have one final test, and it wouldn't be a really good test unless it was actually a real test. After this, you'll be on your own. And everything sort of transforms around you, and you find yourself in a room. It's just a square room. Everything is painted white ceiling, white floor, no decorations. But on the opposite wall, there's a door. And he goes over towards the door, and he puts his hand on the door, and he says, "Through this door is your test. There's a hallway, and at the other end of the hallway is another door. You get to that door, you'll wake up. That's it. From here to there is all you have to do."
Is this a group activity or is this individual?
You need to work together. You need to use the abilities you've learned. And I'm not going to help you. So.
And there's a dragon in there or some such?
It's just a hallway.
Just a hallway.
And he sort of giggles a little bit, and then he disappears. He's gone.
All right. Should we? Well, I guess we don't know what we're against, so we don't know what to conjure until we go through.
I'll go over and open the door.
Okay. You open the door, and very anticlimactically, there is a hallway. The hallway looks like it's maybe 50 feet or so long. And at the other end of the hallway, there's a door. The hallway is about 7 or 8 feet wide, maybe about 12 feet high. And it's completely plain. There's nothing. The floor looks like it's made out of wood.
All right. You've got a thought, John?
Yeah, I've got an idea. I'll walk over to a patch of the wall a little bit, not down the corridor, but it's still in the same room that we're in. Focus on the wall and see if I can create a doorway that is about 3 or 4 foot from the one down the other end of the corridor.
Okay. You'll have to do your dreaming roll then.
Roll plus soul. One day the dice will like me. 12.
So 12 lets you do. Show that up on my screen. Art dreaming. You can choose 2 options. The options you have.
Okay. Well, I'll create something from nothing.
Okay. You're creating a door.
And then transform it so that it will then connect to where I want it to appear in at the other end.
Okay. Ingolf, as you're standing there, you see another door appear down the hallway. Looks like it's maybe 5 feet from the other door on the right-hand side. So what do you do, John?
I'll open it, see what happens.
Okay. You open the door and you see that the passageway inside the door goes maybe 5 feet and then turns. And there's probably a door right there.
Well, here goes nothing. I'll try and step through it and see what happens.
Okay. You step through it. And in Ingolf, you see 5 other doors suddenly appear on that same wall. And John opens up the middle one and steps through it into the corridor. John, you're still about 25 feet away from the door now.
I'll turn and look behind me, hopefully back into the room itself. Well, halfway, but not what I fully wanted.
Fancy dreaming, though.
I'll I want to form like a ball or something in my hand to like something to roll across the floor.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
12 as well.
So 2 things you can do.
So I guess I'm creating something out of nothing.
Can you save one of those things for later in the scene? Is it one of those sort of things?
I don't think so.
Because I have another.
I mean, you don't have to do them all at the same moment, but yeah.
Because I wanna roll a ball down on the floor and see what happens.
Okay. So like you're bowling?
Yeah.
Okay. So John is halfway down, but he can step over the ball when it gets there. You pull back and you roll the ball. It rolls towards John. John steps over it as it goes by. It rolls past him and it hits the door at the other end. And sort of bounces off and lays there on the floor.
Well, here goes nothing, I'll say, and I'll just walk through the initial door, not John's.
Okay.
And start toward him.
So you're walking towards John. How about Petra and Andre?
Yeah, so I will follow Dietrich.
I actually was thinking the same thing too. Okay.
Okay. So the 3 of you are following Dietrich. As soon as you guys step into the hallway and start walking towards John, after a couple of feet, the door behind you closes, the one going back to the other room. You get to John. Nothing's changed. Ingolf, Oh wait, I'm sorry. Ingolf, did you step into the room, or are you still?
No, I hadn't stepped into the
Okay,
hall.
so it didn't close then. So Ingolf is still there. The four of you are now together in the middle.
Seems all right.
Yes.
I wonder about your extra doors, John, but I think we should probably not bother with them.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Do you suppose that the punchline is that the far door is locked?
Maybe we just have to transform the door.
We'll have to see when we get there, I guess.
What if we made that into a screen door? That's worth a try. I'm going to try to transform the far door into something we can see through.
Okay, you're going to do that from here?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, if there's an ocean on the other side, I guess that'll be terrible, but it wouldn't really help if I was right there. And, 13 in total.
So you also can do two things.
All right. You are a screen door.
Okay. It suddenly turns into a screen door. You can see through the screen door, and what you see, you each, it's a little hard for Ingolf to see because he's way back down at the other end. But you can see through the screen door is your bedroom, and you can see yourself lying in bed.
Where we currently are in...
Where you currently are asleep in bed.
In the safe house. All right. So we're the dreamers, and that's the dreaming person. And each of us sees a separate...
You see yourselves, yeah.
So, and we verify that. Like, you're not seeing me, right? You're seeing, yeah. Oh, I wonder if this is about reintegration and not about some challenge. All right, I'll continue down.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Oh, and since I've got a second thing from my roll, I'm just going to conjure up a baseball bat with some nails shoved, through the business end.
Okay.
Little Louisville Slugger.
You take maybe 5 steps towards the screen door, and you hear something. It's way off in the distance at first. It sounds like almost like the sound of doors slamming, bang, 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 bang. And it's getting louder and louder. And all of a sudden, the end of the corridor that you're looking at with the screen door suddenly turns at a right angle to itself. And it's no longer a door, it's a corner going around. And then maybe 5 feet in front of that, it does the same thing, but in the opposite. So you are now in a corridor that leads to a turn, a left-hand turn. I mean, a right-hand turn.
Around which we expect another left-hand turn if it doesn't change again. In golf, there might be an element of speed involved.
All right, I'll step through. Enjoying them.
Okay. As soon as you walk away, the door closes behind you. And this time, as you walk away from that door, when you get about 5 or 6 feet away from it, you hear that clapping sort of sound again, that banging. And behind you, that door suddenly flips sideways, and you can hear more corridors and passageways crinkling out of the straight passageway. You're just in a segment of straight passageway in a labyrinth of corridors.
I want to try turning the walls transparent.
All right.
Eight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just says you lack control over the. I get a hard or a soft move. You can't see through the walls, but you can hear something. You're near one of those other doors, and you hear At first, what you think is a scratching noise. But I mean, the first thing that pops into your mind is like a rat, but then there's more of them. You hear a whole bunch of them, except that they're not just randomly running around. You're hearing a sort of rhythm, like the sound of your hand doing this on the floor. Something big, something with multiple legs.
Glad I'm not hearing that.
Okay.
You're in a pretty close corridor. You could probably hear it too.
No. It's not. Okay.
What direction is it coming from?
It's coming from the wall that you were looking at when you were trying to. It looks like it might be coming from behind that door that's right near in front of you. One of the other 4 doors.
As long as it's not a big nope, I'm okay.
I mean, if there is a specific door, I want to try to seal over the door, if that makes sense.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
A 10 this time.
All right, that gives you 2.
All right, so I want to just merge that door in with the wall, so it just gets walled over the door, basically.
That happens, and as soon as that sort of merges over, whatever it is that was on the other side of that wall suddenly rushes at the spot where the door was, and you hear it sort of smash up against the wall, and 4 little spiked feet penetrate through the wall, and it starts scratching and trying to tear its way through the wall.
With my second action, I want to turn all of those spiked feet into like butterflies.
Okay, that's transform another, I guess, is what that is. All right. So they suddenly sort of, there's like a puff of smoke, and suddenly there's little butterflies floating around inside the room. And something flops down in the other room next to you. What do the rest of you guys want to do? Petra, Andre, what are you guys going to do?
With all of that noise, actually, I'm probably taking a leaf out of Dietrich's book and creating a weapon for myself of some kind, to be honest.
Yes, same.
This is really freaking me out. So I'm going to try to make like a machete out of thin air.
I want to try and conjure up maybe a gun or something, some kind.
Oh, no, that is just an absolute failure. 4.
Ooh.
I was going to say anyway, Petra, you probably have a better arm than I do.
I rolled a 15 altogether with my things. So.
Okay. Well, for Petra, when you fail, something behind you along the corridor, going back towards the original door, starts hitting those floorboards, and you see them start to splinter as something is trying to come up from underneath. Andre, you succeeded. You got a 15.
Yeah.
You can have 3 options.
Yeah. So obviously I'm conjuring up maybe a rifle of some kind.
Okay. Rifle appears in your hands.
Yeah, it will have a scope on it because I want to make use of it.
With a scope.
Might be a dream, but it'll still be useful. What? Can I hear the floorboards?
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
Damn, I don't even know.
In fact, you can think progressively. The farther away you are from Petra, the less you can hear it, but you can see it happening. You can see it's not happening in like a figment of your imagination.
How about a brick wall between us and that part of the hallway?
Yeah.
Can we get engulf on the right side for that?
Yeah, you can all make sure you get on the side for that.
I will conjure up a brick wall that seals off that.
Okay. You bring up you suddenly put a brick wall, and just as you put the brick wall, you hear something on the other side smash up through the floor. and you can hear it start to pound on the brick wall.
Right. Let's move forward. Petra, here, take this, and be mindful. It appears to be that it's a bad place to make mistakes. That stride toward the turn.
As my third, because I have 3, I will conjure up another weapon.
Okay.
Maybe a similar to the bat, and then I'll give it to whoever wants it, basically. The nailed Lucille bat.
I'm curious how far we can.
Go.
I'm curious how far we can push boundaries here. In a sense, I want to try and turn myself into like a ghost, if that makes sense, to like phase through.
Transform yourself. Go ahead.
That is a 13.
Nice. So you're going to transform yourself into a ghost. You feel yourself become a bit incorporeal. All the rest of you see him sort of look ghostly. You can see through him a bit. What do? You're still in the corridor with you.
Yeah, I want to start just walking through walls. I want to go find that door.
So you're just going to walk through that wall. Okay. So you take a step forward and you step through the wall, and you suddenly realize that you are on the edge of a gigantic labyrinth that seems to go on forever and ever in all directions. And that if you don't stop yourself, you are going to fall into nothingness.
Okay, well, so now that I've stepped out through this wall, can I see, so from this vantage point, can I see where we're supposed to be heading?
You have no idea. It's somewhere out there in the labyrinth.
Okay, well, I want to can I make like a walkway for me to follow?
Okay.
To
What did you get?
Walk up. I got a 13, so I had 2 options. So it was
okay.
I guess I could walk through the walls and then.
Yeah, there suddenly appears at your feet a kind of ribbony walkway that's going, that's bypassing.
Yeah, so I just want to walk above and just peer down into the labyrinth from above.
Okay. What you can see of the labyrinth is that, I mean, it's very much like a gigantic maze, and it seems to be crawling with things, giant insects, shadows, things that are moving around. It looks deadly. And as you are looking and trying to observe, you hear off in the distance the sound of a bell. Bong. You pull back into the corridor where the others are. What do the rest of you want to do, by the way, when you see him step through the wall?
But I had the thought, and I'll voice it aloud. And you can disagree with me, John. Do you think that little doll would maybe guide us, or do you think that is only for the orphanage, John?
Well, I thought what was said was that it was for us to find Pietro, because we're going to have to walk through various dreams to get to it. But if the little silent one is with us, does she do anything?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Do you want her to do something?
Yeah, get us the fuck out of here.
You could try to dream her to do something. Maybe.
Wait, like you have the actual doll, right, John, in like the waking world?
Yeah.
Could it be something like guide us to its other form? Something like that?
Like guide us to the waking world, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's transforming it or if that really applies to this, but
actually, that might be a way to try and get around this. Can I use my dreamer advantage? Which is I intend to find either the specific place or person in dream?
Sure.
All right, see if this works. Oh, well, that's 9 plus 7 is 16 on the dice, so 20 with my soul.
Yeah, you suddenly have a clear mental image of exactly where that door is, and pretty much how to get there. It's really just down and around the corner, you think. You think that the labyrinth might be some sort of illusion, a confusing illusion.
Again, more mindfuckery. Whoa, this way.
Now remember,
Ingolf.
Ingolf has stepped through the wall. Yeah.
If you can hear us, Ingolf, we've got a line. If you pop your head in, Casper.
Are you gonna do
I am
it?
a friendly ghost after all, so
So do you join them, Ingolf?
yeah.
All right. So you travel down and around the corner, and you can see that the door is just maybe 20 feet from where you're standing. You start to walk towards the door, and another door appears next to it. And that door starts to slowly creak open. And when it creaks open, there's a strange clicking sort of noise coming from all around. And these little claws sort of grab the door. And as it opens up, the only way I could describe it is a gigantic centipede covered in metal, like it's got metal armor on. Its little mouth parts doing this. And it starts moving towards you down the passageway.
I think it's time to transform another.
I need a willpower check.
I was thinking of using my newly acquired divine advantage.
Well,
I
you can
I
probably
also-
all try and hold it to keep it together at this point.
That'll be an 8.
I got an 11.
11.
I also want to attempt to try and transfer my bullets into metal piercing bullets,
Armor piercing bullets.
which I will roll. Just so yes.
Where is keep? Oh, keep. No, that's not it.
I got 12, so would that mean I get two? Is that what a 12 is?
Yeah, let me catch up. Who got under 10 on the keep it together?
I got 10 on the nose, so
Yeah. You can choose. I mean, you're going to lose one stability, but you can become angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden, obsessed.
feeling pretty angry about this little puzzle box. The Wanderer is real cute and everything, but this is hellish and gross, and we're just going to wake up anyway.
All right. Well, your choice. It's one -1 stability.
Mhm.
And Andre, you tried to transform them into armor piercing?
Yeah, to make metal piercing, arm piercing, and I got a 12 on the rolls. Well, overall.
Okay.
So.
Then they transform. Are you going to fire?
Yeah, I'm gonna fire.
All
I
right.
need to roll with. I guess it's engaging combat. So. Thank God for my violence. I just need to look because I am firing with a scoped weapon, so I just need to. Okay, so I am using my sniper advantage. 11. The shot finds its target. Choose one option. I get from my sniper advantage, which either deal +1 harm, hit another target as well, immobilize your target, get the target to lose control of something, or you don't reveal your position.
I think it knows where you are.
Yeah, I guess immobilize my target from my sniper advantage, I guess, because then it will come
Okay.
to a halt, hopefully.
You fire your bullet with a great deal of accuracy, and it slices through the legs on one side of the creature, at least partway down. So the creature falls to its side, and it's now thrashing about and scrambling, but it can't seem to get a foothold. What does everybody else want to do?
Quaking terror as I rolled 8 on my keep it together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me, with losing my stability, I kind of feel sad. Like, I don't know. I feel a little lost in this thing, as horrifying as it is. I don't know. I get the sense that it's lost here too. But I want to use my divine advantage to try to tell it to do something.
Okay. And John, you're going to lose 2 on stability for.
Woo! That is a 19.
Okay. So what you want to tell it to do?
So
Go forth and multiply. Or procreate.
That was meant for Tom, that message, by the way, not for everyone. It doesn't matter. If everyone saw it, it's fine.
We see nothing.
sorry, I gotta remind myself what the okay. Choose up to 3 options. So I want to soothe an aggressive creature. So I want it to.
It stops writhing,
Mhm.
becomes docile.
And then I want to command it to lead me out of this place.
It tries to kind of move around. Like I said, it's been seriously injured. But it shuffles itself around till it can get into a sort of position. And then it reaches up with its little claws and turns the doorknob on the door. And you see the door swing open. You can see into the bedroom. And what was the third thing?
And the third thing, I want it to anchor itself so this place can't shift away from us.
Okay. Well, it's digs its feet into the wall. Its remaining feet into the wall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll
So
try to
what
walk
does
through the door.
All right. You step forward. You go through the door, and Ingolf disappears from the rest of you.
Going through the door. I've had enough of this.
Okay. So you're going to go past the bug.
I
Yes.
am also going past.
Right. Andre and Petra, you probably managed without much difficulty to run past the bug. Dietrich.
I want to transform the giant steel-plated centipede into a strawberry cake version of itself, inanimate and frosted
And delicious.
and delicious.
Okay. Yeah.
12 on the dice, so 15.
All right. So that creature turns into a strawberry cake in the shape of a centipede.
I'm
Stops
hoping, John,
moving.
that seems a little, that soothes you a little bit. And I scoop a bit of cake and frosting up and shove it in my gob and try to go through the screen door.
The
It's
last
delicious.
time I met one of them, when it bit me, the wound was on me when I woke up. So those things, they kind of breached the barrier between this world and the dream world.
Not the
But-
strawberry cake version.
Well, yeah, even so, I want to try one last thing before we go, mainly
Okay.
because I don't want to go in anywhere near it completely. Would when we can transform self, can we transform ourselves into things that aren't living beings?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I want to turn myself into basically like a harpoon gun and shoot myself down the corridor to get past it as quick as possible.
Okay.
Let's see if the dice like me at all. 16 on the dice, 8 and 8, so that's 20. So yeah, I will quote Puck and go, yeah, like a bow, like an arrow from a bow, I go.
Yeah, he suddenly turns into a spear gun and shoots himself through the door. And Dietrich, I assume you step in after him.
Yeah.
And despite the fact you went, go ahead.
John turned himself into a harpoon in a harpoon gun so that he doesn't wake up with just a head and the rest of him is the harpoon gun back in the hallway.
His mental essence was in the harpoon. So you all seem to wake up right about the same time in bed. Not in the same bed. That would be funny, but
Awkward.
You all hear each other suddenly stirring in your respective rooms. You are awake.
Over and one fell out. Yeah.
It's pre-dawn, I assume. Gray pre-dawn.
Yeah, just the sun's just now coming up. You still feel rested despite the fact that you also any kind of trauma that you experience it goes away,
including stability. Yeah, because you realize it's just a dream.
I don't know about you all, but I think I've had enough of the dream world.
Only for a couple of days. That's our next destination.
Yeah.
Petra, I count on you to protect me in the real world, but I will do everything that I can to continue to protect you in the not.
Yeah, don't rely on me for anything in the dreams.
What about me, Dietrich? I will keep you protected wherever we go.
Yeah, well, I feel like you're more capable of taking care of yourself outside of reality.
Yes, that is true. But what is real and what isn't, Dietrich?
Indeed.
So after a hearty breakfast of fast food, wherever you can get it, you've packed up your things and you get on the road. Are you planning on going, like I suggested, through Frankfurt on Oder into Russia, because it's not very well protected border? In any case, we'll just say you drive through, not a problem. Leningrad, it takes, it's about an 8-hour drive from where you are. You arrive in Leningrad. Now, Leningrad is in fact an incredibly beautiful city. The architecture is spectacular. There are churches with golden domes all over the city. This was Peter the Great's city, and he wanted it to be a place that was just filled to the brim with art, beautiful things. So it still remains that, even though it's under the communist rule. What would you like to do?
What an ugly place. I have not missed being here.
Don't tell me you're local.
I have been here many a time.
I'm curious about the cathedral.
Well, one thing is, when you look around, there looks like there's cathedrals all over the place.
Yeah.
City with multiple cathedrals?
Yeah, there's quite a few here.
But yes, there's quite a
Leningrad's a large city.
Dietrich, just to clarify, the city itself is beautiful. I just don't like things that transpired, so I find it ugly.
Fair enough. I'm just hoping we didn't take you back to, say, your hometown where you have 19 cousins that recognize you.
Oh, no. That's... We're a while away from that, so we don't have to.
The Vischenko dynasty rises up.
Well, most of them, I had to well, that's a story for another time.
A visit to Cabrera-Grad. Engulf, I think your
How
idea
did
is
you know?
interesting. I wonder if there, and you can tell us, Andre Dieter, is there, is there a cathedral that is like the one that one of the emperors is buried in, or is the symbol of the city, or?
Well, it's going to be
talking to a voice in my head. Do I know of such a place?
Oh, like I say, there's lots of cathedrals without a specific.
It's like I was going to say it's going to be Russian Orthodox, but the only problem is they're all
Yes.
going to be
They're all Russian Orthodox. Do they have emperors buried in them? Yeah, they're all
I was like,
emperors
not
buried in them.
helpful at all. Okay.
It's like looking for a needle in a haystack here. We've got to pinpoint it down a bit, maybe finer details.
Maybe we should try to find. I mean, the thing identified itself as Kalenko. I don't know if it goes by that name.
Yeah. Possibly.
I'm sorry, what?
Lictor.
The lictor. The thing that visited us.
That was Bishop Lashenko, I think.
Oh, Blizhenko.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kalenko was all these names. Kalenko was the guy who ran the orphanage.
Oh, yeah.
That name's too similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you've got my last name.
I only had one of the. I didn't even think that guy recorded.
Yeah, and a Vishenko. Now you've got Andrei Vishenko.
Speaking of orphanage, that's also in my list to see if we can find the site of the former orphanage that all of these children came from.
Yes.
Engulf, do you think you can type your way to the orphanage? Or the building that housed it when it existed? And if so, will that help you locate it in the real world?
Did we ever catch
Honestly,
the name of it?
Don't.
Only the owner.
Okay.
And only that it was during the siege of Leningrad. So.
Right. It's probably long gone at this point.
Yes, but we can locate some information based on that. We can pinpoint it. Based on the information we know, knowing the owner, knowing the era, and stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't have enough details, I think, to actually.
Yeah.
I will seek out that information. That's what I'll be doing.
I will assist you, Petra.
Okay. Petra, what avenues what will you try to find this information?
Starting, I think, with like surface level, like public record. And if that doesn't get me anywhere, I'm probably gonna have to lean on Dieter. If he has any contacts, he can ask.
Well,
I guess.
You're going to have to find something. You're going to have to find documents and references to something that you don't know where it is from 30, 40 years ago.
Right. We have the name of the owner.
Yeah, so if we
Like public record
to-
connecting names to like
to the name.
properties owned, that kind of thing.
and I will help you. Just
Once again, the problem is you don't know what to look for. I mean, you can't read through every public record that ever
Sure.
existed.
you need to narrow the information down.
I'll have to think on it then.
We need to go back to the facts. What we know.
I'll tell you what. Do an investigate roll. See what you get.
Can I do one as well as I am assisting?
Yeah, you can both do it. But what you're going to ask is, how can you find this information?
There is the
Not
help
the
hinder
failure.
mechanic as well, so you could always use that.
I will help you.
No, you should be doing it. I failed, so I failed the help roll.
Okay. Let's go. Let's try. Investigation is not my expertise. Guns is. I got 4 overall. So.
We're matching, Dieter. Andre.
John, why did Petra and Andre just walk into each other forehead to forehead?
Percussive research. Yeah.
They put the wrong people on the investigation trail.
We can fix this. We can do a little dance.
More John's. That's more up John's alley, I think.
I'm middle of the road, to be honest. People's more my thing.
Right.
Well, why don't the rest of you also see if you can investigate, at least get an idea. I'll just give you an idea once that happens.
5.
Oh, 18.
The failure
Yeah.
does get you information. It's just like you pay. There's a cost. Even at a failure, you get information. There's just a cost to it all. Like you
Well,
expose
my
yourself.
hint is, who would know all about the siege of Leningrad and the things that were going on in the city at the time? People that lived through it, or people who are really interested in studying the period?
Maybe John, we can pull your reporter angle a little bit, because I don't think knocking on doors and cold calling people is
True.
necessarily going to be welcome.
What we really needed was an academic with us, but they got killed by the Satanists. So,
Yep.
damn.
Is there like a war memorial place or like some kind of
Home for
Museum
old
or-
veterans, or yeah, there's probably both of those kind of places, like Veterans Home and Museum of Russian History.
yeah, maybe we may want to start there.
Though a museum probably would have more scoping things rather than orphanages.
You want a history professor. That's the kind of thing. So you'd look at universities.
The other thing is that
There'll definitely be people still alive from that period. They'll be old.
also, an official at the Russian Orthodox Church will know where the lector is Lishenko. I mean, he was an actual priest in the church who was involved with this orphanage, and so they'll have a name for the orphanage and a posting for him at the end of the war.
Sure.
No, Lashenko, the bishop, was not involved in the church. He rescued the children.
Oh,
You mean involved with the orphanage?
Involved with the orphanage, right?
Lenko was the one who was running it.
And it wasn't a church thing; it was a
No,
state thing.
obviously it was a Satan thing because he
Satan
was.
thing, in fact. Yeah. So, what's the biggest university in town, Andre?
It is voice in my head.
University of Leningrad, probably.
There
I
you go.
don't know.
Most likely. The
There you go.
University of Leningrad, and it is literally, if we go down this street and take a right, and then a left, and then a right, with that.
Yeah. So there'll be an academic there who has some idea, presumably. Also, this is the year that they're changing the name of the city back to St. Petersburg. I wonder if that's happened yet.
It actually has happened, but it's taking a while for people to accept it. Some people accept it, some people don't.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, people have inertia about that sort of thing.
So calling it either one. I'm sorry, I don't know where Lashenko came from. Bishop Ivan Shizenko.
Shizenko.
They're all ending co.
Oh, you know, it's a Russian thing.
It's Lashenko, damn it. That sounds really, they all sound familiar.
I have a feeling it might be connected to your umbrella comment earlier.
Could be. I've done so many.
Sure. That's Lukashenko, yeah. Andre, then, do you want to be a translator for the researcher
Yeah,
who
yeah.
writes novels, or the researcher who is a journalist, both of whom's names I don't currently know?
Whichever one I will check. Whoever wants me.
Which one of you feels like a more convincing liar to an academic this afternoon?
I can do people, not so much books.
All right. So why don't you visit the university and see if you can get a line on the orphanage from some historian. Ingolf, let's pick a cathedral and see what it looks like on beyond the veil. Petra, have you figured out where we're staying yet?
I'll make arrangements while you all are doing that.
What's your fellow's name? Rolf?
Yes.
Is he holding up?
So far, so good.
Everything hasn't vanished into Switzerland yet?
Would not be surprised if it happened, but yeah, he's shockingly loyal. Can't say I would have done the same.
I mean, it certainly says something about his character. It's interesting. Maybe he just knows that he wouldn't be a good businessman in the end and needs somebody more visionary atop. He's been making a nice living, I assume.
He deserves a raise at this point.
Well, he'll certainly get that one way or another.
Come on in, John. Let's go to the university.
All right, so you head to the university. That's you and John.
Yeah, me and John and Ingolf and Dietrich are going to a church, one of the cathedrals.
Yep.
There's like a major square in the center of town. There'll be a cathedral there.
Sure.
We're just fishing.
I think there's like 4 or 5 of them there. Cathedral. And Petra, you were going to try and contact Rolf?
Yeah, I'm going to try to arrange for some nice accommodations. I am tired of soulless, shabby hostels. I need luxury.
All right. You do manage to get a hold of Rolf. He's surprised that you're in Russia, but that's okay. The Russians liked very much to have big things.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of accommodations that, though reasonable for you, which is wealthy, they're opulent. I mean, the doors in the building are 20 feet high and 7 feet wide, and the ceilings are 20 feet high, and there's bric-a-brac all over everything, and they're overly opulent, but very beautiful, very to that period in time.
Right. As long as there's good security. Yes, opulence, love it, want it, but if there's at least some good security, that would also be nice.
Well, I mean, other than you don't really see the security when you go into a hotel. They might be there, but they're.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. Then
Nobody
I'll trust it to Rolf. But yeah, just I need something a little nicer than much nicer than what we've been staying in. And yes, okay. I will, provide accommodations for all in this nice place.
He chooses this building that when you get there, you're gonna for everybody. Rooms?
Yeah, I'm gonna get something. Like a suite or something.
This building is so beautiful. It's all alabaster white bric-a-brac with sky blue walls and fitting a lot of stuff all around the windows and everything. And you go inside, it's just as beautiful. And you manage to get 5 rooms.
Yeah. And
you're surprised that the price is fairly reasonable. You can tell also that a lot of this has been redone recently to restore it, after the war and after things like that. So that's not a problem at all. Andre and John, you're heading towards the university. All right, you get there. The university is a big university. It's beautiful. Lots of students walking about. This is a busy city. There's lots and lots of people walking around. It's like New York City without all the gigantic skyscrapers. There's just gigantic churches everywhere. All right, so who do you want to go and see?
Well, John, I guess.
Well,
Professor in history, I guess.
yeah, we don't have a specific name, so presumably if there's someone that could point us in the direction of like the history department,
Yeah.
and if there's a reception desk there, then we'll ask to see if there is a professor that specializes in this particular area of history that we're looking for, that's got a opening in their schedule that can answer a few questions.
No,
There
actually,
is, yes, Russian history professor, Professor Lebnovitz, not an Enko, an Lebnovitz. Is
Yeah,
his
even better.
last name.
Leibniz. That's an interesting name.
What did I get a first name? Sergei Lebnovitz.
Oh, Sergey, a strong name. Strong name, John.
All right, so you are. They set up an appointment. You need to talk to him that day. He has some classes that he's teaching, but once that's done, you're able to meet with him in his office. Once again, the office is beautiful, opulent, not something that would have been decorated by the person in the room, but by history itself. He's an old man. You'd say he's probably in his 70s. He looks rather frail, very, long beard, very intelligent looking man. Please come in. Please sit down. What can I do for you?
Nice to meet you.
Yes, very, very nice to meet you.
John,
Do you-
I
do you-
will.
Do you happen to speak German by chance?
Do I speak German? Yeah, I speak German and French and English, whatever you prefer.
Hey, even better. Don't need
there you
sounds
go.
like.
I don't even need to be here, John. I was sitting here now.
We didn't know.
What,
Right,
what
yeah.
can I do for you?
Yeah, so we're doing some research at the minute, looking to put together an article and some potentially looking to do some book work. Basically, run off what we've discussed and see if he can tell us anything.
Well, I can tell you a great deal about the period of the siege of Leningrad. And for 45 minutes or so, he's telling you all sorts of anecdotes, all sorts of horrors and things that took place, and the nightmares and everything else. I need to sort of know what you say so that I can react.
If he's rattling off stuff about random anecdotes, do any of them focus in on the cathedrals?
Not particularly. I mean, some of the cathedrals were used to house soldiers during the siege. There wasn't much time for church when everybody was starving to death.
Gotcha. In which case, we'll see if we can focus in on. Obviously, we've heard that there was the impact on the human aspect.
Terrible suffering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids especially.
Children, yes. So many of them lost their families.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to do, but put them in an orphanage.
Well, funny you should mention that, because we were looking at an orphanage in particular.
Oh,
because we're following up from. We've spoken to some of the kids that were transported back to Germany during the war.
Really, that's very interesting. What orphanage are you looking for?
Insert the name of, yeah.
Kalenko.
Although as he says that's interesting, I'm suddenly having alarm bells ringing, maybe because of paranoia. Can I do read a person to see if I've just
Sure.
got a foot in it?
Yeah,
Sure.
I might also read a person at that point because my inner bodyguard is coming out here.
8.
12. I don't know what I can do on that.
You may ask one question.
I'm not even. If there are questions, I guess is he trustworthy or something along those lines?
He seems very, very free flowing with all the information. He doesn't seem to be hesitating. How about you, John? Did you?
I accidentally reveal my own intentions to the person I'm trying to read. Tell the GM player what these intentions are. GM makes a move. Well, I've pretty much told you what I'm after.
Well, I mean, you elicit a response from him when you say the name Kalenko. His eyebrows go up, and he gets a rather quirky-looking smile on his face, and he says, "Kalenko." He says, "I have an associate, an old associate, a man that I worked with a couple of years ago. He's practically obsessed with this Kalenko fellow. I think that I met him once in my youth, but he didn't seem at all odd to me. Just he ran one of the large orphanages. He seems to have disappeared after the siege. But then again, I'm not really, it's not something that I would research directly. I'm not that interested. But I do remember my friend Yuri just going on and on about this Kalenko fellow.
I was going to say, who's your obsessed friend?
Yanko Chesov. He, as I say, we worked together. Wait a moment. He says he works at the GRU office in over on Moscovy Prospect.
I'll look at kind of Dieter sideways and kind of give him the "we're not going there" kind of look.
I also look at you like.
No.
He says he seems to know a great deal about this Kalenko fellow. Here, let me do something. He pulls out a piece of paper and he writes something on a piece of paper, and he folds it up and he puts it in a little envelope, and he says, if you go to visit him, give him this, and he hands you the envelope.
Says,
give this to the guard at the gate, and tell them to take it to Yuri Chezenko, and I'm sure he will help you.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Other than that, he can't really tell you much other than anecdotes and historical things that are going on.
That's what I'll say about this. We're kind of following up from the other end of the research, kind of using the same story that we gave to the two ladies in Frankfurt under Oder. Kind of wrap it up with just thanking him very much, also tapping the letter, making sure I've got that still. Yeah.
He can also give you, he looks through his papers and he can give you an address for the Kalenko orphanage.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yes, there we go.
It's so I've said it before, this book should come with a big gigantic cheat sheet. It's on Bolshoi Prospect number 38. That's what it's listed in one of these old things from pre siege.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. As we're leaving, John, I'm like, well, if you've ever read this little comic strip called Tintin, you will know not to trust a letter where someone that will most likely have a
Oh,
feeling.
we're steaming that fucking thing open before we give it to anyone. It probably just says like treat with extreme prejudice. These are terrorists. Something really fucking bad on it.
Or like in that Pharaoh thing, please put this person in asylum. They are crazy.
All right, so let's jump over to Ingolf and Dietrich. What are you guys going to do? Oh, you were going to the cathedrals. So there are many cathedrals, big, beautiful churches. As I was telling Petra, the Russians had this thing about making things bigger and bigger and bigger. They were like in competition on these churches. They, one would have a 4-storied high icon screen in the front, and the next one would have a 5-storied one high, and the next one would have a 6-storied one high. And this one would be gilt with gold, and this one would be one thing after the other, So they're spectacular, they're beautiful. And when you go inside, they're very quiet. Oddly enough, they don't have pews, which a lot of them don't. You're expected just to stand in church. What do you want to do? We'll say that you're going to visit a number of them and you're going to...
I think the idea was to go in and use enhanced awareness.
I was just going to try to see through the illusion at whatever church looked most imposing from the central square.
Okay. Go ahead and use your powers. Hell.
Plus 19 to see through the illusion.
Well, that beats my 11 I'm getting with an enhanced awareness.
Yeah, Ingolf is trying to focus and nothing's happening. Dietrich, as you're looking around, there is something interesting about Leningrad. You recall John describing something about the churches, or the church that he went to, where he said that he saw a kind of a light glowing from inside the church. When you look around, a lot of these churches seem to have a little bit of a glow to them. You're almost thinking that it's kind of like a protection spell. Something is watching over these churches from somewhere else and keeping them safe. You also recall that Bishop Chizenko said that this was a special place watched over by Bina, the Madonna, that there was something present here, and you can feel it and you can see it. And it's not scary, it's kind of more like a safety, something safe here. But you see it from most of the cathedrals as you look around. They've been here for 1,000 years. Some of them, well, not so much, but a few hundred years
Many
at least.
hundred, yeah. And yet, that was where, Magda's service was interrupted by that giant crane mechanism. So the protection is from some directions towards some things, but it isn't exactly a comfy blanket over. But the light is sort of ambient from these cathedrals in downtown. Yeah. And there isn't one that's weirdly dark or cold.
No.
And there isn't, I don't see any weird celestial machinery writhing about them.
Nothing like that, no.
The light of, guardianship, essentially. Well, maybe they'll be refuge for us at some point. I was sort of looking for a wormhole. Nothing, Ingolf?
I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I'm just half tempted to walk into a cathedral and ask for it.
You see people walking in and out. Mm-hmm. You see people, you begin very quickly to be able to identify touristy people, you know.
Well, I imagine Western Europeans are sort of buzzing around now that it's open.
Yeah.
And they probably look rather different than the locals do, given the deprivation that happened under the Soviet Union for so many years. We probably look a little
almost just
bit.
going to say do a spot hidden. But you begin to see a pattern. You definitely see older people going into churches. And when you see them, the women always have their heads covered. And you recall from the church back in Germany that the women in the church all had their head covered. So when you see some women going into the church without their head covered, you immediately think must be a tourist. You know, they don't know.
Yeah, they're probably.
And the guy with them is probably a tourist as well.
Also, if anybody's got a Japanese camera, they're not local, and they're probably evident.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm almost relieved. I was half afraid that we were going to see some infernal mechanism towering over the middle of the city. We're supposed to meet the others at a cafe with a name that had 8 syllables.
Well, Diedrich, just because you can't see the infernal mechanism doesn't mean it's not there.
True enough, and as I say, yeah, if Magda can be considered a tasty morsel when she's being, interred in a sacred place, then yeah.
A tasty morsel or a choice cut?
Memory is tricky. Desirable and edible was the impression. And that mechanism. And right, so let's off to the cafe and try not to be too obvious about how we stand out here.
Okay. So you're heading for the cafe. You all end up at the cafe. Petra can go first. She's got you guys very nice rooms.
Petra, you look happier than I've seen you for a little while.
No more threadbare blankets and 250 thread count sheets for us.
Well, that's just how I've lived my entire life.
Well, get ready, Ingolf. Get ready to be spoiled, because I've picked the accommodations that I deserve, and I've arranged for all of you to have some as well.
That is welcome. I hope there's a decent kitchen. I'm tired of takeout.
Yes.
No listening to the mice scurrying across the skirting boards. Yeah.
I think it's probably good that we can sleep in comfort and dream in peace, given what we have to deal with. So I look forward to the digs. Downtown, as far as Ingolf and I can see, things look wholesome.
John, I
Anything
feel.
turn up in your research? Yes, Andre.
Well, me and John have this lovely letter, which we definitely need to read. But other than that, we have an address for P.
Excellent.
Yes. I won't say it out loud. You never know.
No. Is it far? Do we need a taxi, or we'll go on foot? I think we should see the place from outside.
Come by that address if it's where I think it is, not far at all.
God, can you imagine living in an apartment complex on the site of that? Those children screaming at night.
I will be honest with you, Dietrich, a lot of Leningrad and Russia in general is haunted by many things.
That's true.
Many horrible, horrible things.
I guess many people sleep too deeply to hear such things.
I used to.
If only that was true.
So do we want to, is it convenient to drop our things off at our opulent new digs
Yeah.
and then go and see the location of our coming psychic battle?
Yes. Yeah, it's not very far from where you are. Imagine, like you said, you're kind of in a big square and you've all kind of just moved around the square. The university was the farther thing away, but you're all back there again. All right, so you get all your things put away in the hotel. Did you want to do anything before you leave the hotel?
What time of day is it?
It's a very nice day. It's
Yeah,
bright
like what
and-
time? Like afternoon, evening?
Oh, by now it's probably still only about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Nice. Plenty of time.
Andre and John, did you want to do anything with the letter?
I'm definitely going to look into it. Well,
Steam it
we're
open?
going to steam it open.
All right.
Let's
You
do it.
open up the letter, and you're actually kind of surprised. It's a very nice letter. It sounds like Lebnovitz and Chezov are friends. And he basically says, for Chezov to answer your questions. He says, these people are really interested in that period. They're interested in your Kolenko fellow. They seem safe. You can answer their questions. It's signed to your friend Sergey.
As we'll point out to the rest, the only issue is where this person works. Definitely, I cannot go there.
Yeah, I
100%.
kind of read in between the lines there.
But one of you can, Dietrich, maybe you look friendly enough with John. John, you and John could go. Maybe Petra,
Mhm.
Yeah,
but I am not.
yeah, no, you don't want to meet any colleagues. It said these two are safe. We want to make
Yes.
sure to match that
Yeah.
is all.
It didn't say specifically how many.
Very good. That sounds promising. So perhaps,
This could be a line of inquiry before going to the orphanage, because maybe you could find out extra information, and we're not the location of the orphanage.
yeah, it's worth a call at least because there might be. It might be appropriate to make to actually schedule an interview. So if we call now and find out that we can't see him for 2 days, then we'll know.
Also, as something I forgot to mention, all of our rooms, I would have checked all of them for bugs, every single, all of our rooms.
There's a lot to check because there's a lot of bric-a-brac.
I know, but
No
I don't.
cockroaches in sight.
I ain't going with them. Whoever's going to the building, so I will take the time to check because I know all the little spots. So I will check.
Yeah, you look, you don't find anything.
By which he means you only find 2 per room, which means it was probably only hasn't been
Find
freshly
old
done.
ones with dead batteries. Yeah.
in the smoke detector. That's the usual place.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say this now and just keep it sort of in your heads. The Black Madonna gives me rather extensive maps of everything. I think that if I have to stick to the maps, it's going to take forever. So, well, let's just, if I say it's over there, it's over there. That's all we have to do. So were you going to go, did you say you were going to go by the place where the orphanage was, or are you going to go to the GRU headquarters?
We're going to call this Yankochesov fellow at the GRU.
Yuri Chazov?
Oh, it was Yes. Translate all of this into Elvish. Yeah, we're gonna. Petra, you have a little bit of Russian, you said?
Yes. Not bad at it.
So since we don't want any connection to Andre Dieter, then you should call and see if this Chesov fellow needs an appointment, and mention the Professor Lebnevitz.
Yes, I'll do that. Yes.
And see where it leads. And John's pseudonym is working on an article.
Okay. And then what are the rest of you doing if you're not going with? Who are you going with, Dietrich? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You're calling. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me do the call. You try to call. You're trying to call the basically the Secret Service in Russia, and there's a great deal of bureaucracy that stands in your way. You're going to be put on hold, and you're going to be switched to somebody else and switched to another person. There comes a point in the conversation when Yuri Chazov turns into Colonel Chazov, and the question keeps coming up, who are you? And why are you calling?
Of course. And we'll use the story that John's pseudonym is working on a story of just the siege of Leningrad and the fallout
Professor
of all of that.
Lebnevitz sent
Yes.
you.
Yes, using the name, name dropping.
I'm going to say that after about an hour of hassle, you get told, yes, later this afternoon, please come by.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I swear there's only so much you can listen to the girl from Ipanema before you just want to throw a phone across the room.
It does seem like they're incredibly, distrustful of everybody. So then again, that's what they do. All right. So what are the rest of you going to do? I'm sorry.
So does it seem like it's, again, we don't know how much English that Colonel Chesov is going to use, or German rather.
Right.
So maybe Petra should accompany John for that. Maybe the rest of us should just do a walking tour of Bolshoi Prospect and see what the emanations are like, and then we can meet for supper somewhere. And
yes, that sounds good.
No, outside the gate. How are you doing, Matthew?
Yeah, doing fine for the minute. Yeah.
Do you want to cut here? We can keep going for a little bit if you want.
Well, wherever's good for you, I'm good for a little longer.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're okay. All right. So the three of you that decide to go on a walk over to Bolshoi Prospect, you get on the street. It's not a particularly nice street. You know that there's it's a complex of tenements as you're going along. They're all individual houses, but they're one after the other. As you're walking along, you're looking at the street numbers. It starts like in the 20s. You're seeing 22, 24, 26, 28. They're Stalin-esque buildings, not very handsome at all, kind of ugly. 34, 36, 40. Where is 38? you look. I mean, across the street are the odd numbers, but they seem to be in sequence. 38 seems to be missing.
And these, so when you say Stalinesque, you mean it's concrete,
Ugly,
cheerless,
blocky,
but post-war?
Occupied. Probably not post. Well, I don't know. Post-revolution.
Post-revolution, but was the question is, was there something that has been built
It doesn't
over
look like
in
it
the
doesn't.
50s?
It looks like they're probably pre-war. They look old enough. If you look carefully, you might find a cornerstone that's got a date on it that would put it before the war, maybe the 1930s.
And these are like two-story concrete, close to
they're
each
like
other.
two-story. They have steps going up to them like brownstones.
All right, except without any decorative character.
Without any decorative character.
I'm going to try to see through the illusion between 36 and 40. I'm wondering if they swallowed something up somehow. So,
all right, Ingolf, you want to do anything?
If Dietrich is looking through the illusion, I'll try enhanced awareness.
Okay.
13.
16.
We're taking turns.
As you both are looking at the buildings, there is something wrong. There is a stretching of reality. It's as if the buildings on either side have been pulled together, and there's a kind of a warping of space. And in the space where 38 would have been, there is nothing but a void, an abyss. And it's hard to look at. I mean, it's like almost painful to look at.
And it doesn't seem like something was thrust down or away. It seems like something was torn out, and it's just reality collapsed.
Like something was torn out of our reality. Yeah, and our reality just filled in the gap.
This must be the place.
What did you two see? I'm just looking around.
Something is missing. Something has been removed.
Rather than reoccupying this place with something new, that place went somewhere else.
I have a feeling that we can find where it went with John's doll.
I want to observe a situation, because obviously those two have been doing what they've been doing. I have been keeping an eye for anything suspicious, so I am observing. I maybe the tension of being in Russia has got to me. I got 8, so
yeah. No, you can't sense it. Everything looks normal to you. But the fact that they don't look normal when they're doing this, that they're seeing something, your sixth sense is kind of, right there, there's something incredibly dangerous, even though it's just the front ends of buildings.
I know where you took them. I've got a chill up my spine.
Petra and John, you are approaching the GRU headquarters. As you approach, there are a number of guards there. One of the guards is like, "Halt! Who are you?"
Have a letter.
He takes the letter and he says, "What is this?"
This is for your colonel. Still can't remember his name.
Wait here. And he turns around. And you see that the other guards, have their hands on the guns, rifles. It's their job. He goes in, and about 10 minutes later, he comes back and he says, yes, follow me. You go inside, and it's kind of what you'd expect to see. It's, it amounts to police headquarters. You go inside, you're taken to a room, and the officer opens up the door and says, Colonel Chazov, your friends are here. You step inside. The office is very nice. It's what you'd expect once again from Russian imperial pre-revolution building. They didn't tear all those down. They wanted to keep at least some of their history, at least. So he stands up and he says, "Please come in, sit down. What are you doing in my city?"
And without going through the whole, unless you want us to go through the whole thing step by step, same thing that we told the academic to keep the story consistent.
And I don't really care. Please, my friend Leningrad, Sergey has told me in this letter that you brought me that you are interested in Kalenko.
Yes, well, as part of the wider picture of what we're looking at, yes.
I want to tell you something. I have been researching Kalenko, the Kalenko family, for many years now. The Kalenko family has been in St. Petersburg since 1740. They were a fairly prosperous family, and they managed to survive many hardships in the city, even the Russian Revolution. When wealthy families were stripped of their privilege, the Kalenkos somehow were left unscathed. They survived Stalin too, and his purges. It was like they had a hidden savior watching their backs. The man that I encountered back then was Nikolai Kalenko. He is the one who ran the orphanage. It was about that time that his first daughter, Alyona, disappeared. I say disappeared because her death was never reported, nor was there ever a funeral held. Nevertheless, she was gone. He was married. His wife's name was Yelena, and his other daughter was Katya. Then came the siege of Leningrad, and the Kalenkos opened up this orphanage and began collecting children. To what nefarious purpose, no one can determine. When I was, my brother at the time was separated from my family, and he was taken to that orphanage, you see. And when I found this out, I went to the orphanage in order to collect him, to bring him home. And he was not there. At least they claimed he was not there, but we knew that he was there. I forced myself into the building in order to find him. And this other man, he attacked me. He beat me very badly and threw me out of the building. And I managed to get back to my family. When I was attacked, this big man, this very strong man, I found out later that his name was Ivan Sergeyevich Pogodny. he was a cousin of Kalenko's of some sort. He might have been in a relationship with the daughter Katya, though he was exceedingly ugly, very ugly man. Pogodin seems to have acquired a rather prominent position in the local government. He bypassed most of the usual steps. It seems quite shady to me that he got into this position. And then there was another man, Alexander Gorodin. He was very close friends with the Kalenkos, and he helped to support their orphanage while closing down others in the government so that all the children would be funneled into this this orphanage. But there were things that were becoming even stranger. It seems that there was a time, it was a time for a great deal of murder and disappearances in the city. A number of top-ranking officers died mysteriously. There were politicians that disappeared. I've never seen anything like it, but I was not able to directly make any connections. It seemed like they were trying to wrest control of the area for some reason. I think they killed my brother. And I also suspect that I don't think Kalenko died. I think he's still alive and he's out there somewhere. And I want to tell you now, I don't care what reasons you have or who you may be affiliated with, but if you find this Kalenko fella, I want you to kill him for me.
I'm not so much the killing kind of guy, but if we do find him, we can tell you where he is.
That would be sufficient.
I don't have to kill him, but I don't have to save him either.
Now, I can tell you the address of the orphanage. I have documentation, but it's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know whether it was destroyed after the siege or what, but it seems as if it was the building was destroyed, and perhaps there was a rebuilding around it, but I can't find any evidence of anything being rebuilt. And yet it's not there. I've gone to look myself. It is a very strange story.
Can I ask what your brother's name was?
Can ask. Let's see. Let's see. What's a good Russian name? Let's give him the name. What's that?
Alexander.
How about Pasha?
Okay. Just making sure it wasn't Pyotr or something like that.
No, that's I'm trying to avoid it. It's nobody related in the game. And that's basically most of the information that you get out of him. If I think you guys are being very careful, so you're not mentioning anything weird or supernatural. But he might at some point, say that there have been strange rumors involving the occult. I think that's all nonsense. But I think this was and maybe still is an extremely dangerous man. And these other men also, I find no trace of them after that. They seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth.
Looks like
he tells you other slight stories, but there doesn't seem to be much more information that you get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank him for his time. Yeah. Appreciate that he's met with us in the first place.
And with that, I think we'll end it with you all perhaps coming back together at your hotel in the next episode. So now we do our. I keep forgetting what it's.
Dramatic hooks, upkeep.
Dramatic hooks. And
Upkeep. Yeah.
Have we learned anything new about the truth? Yes, this Kalenko fellow is interesting, but
Yeah, 100%.
the place was torn from reality. We did not know.
Yeah, it's true. We have learned that you can actually excise things from space-time to hide them in pockets. Also, we learned that there's a giant dream labyrinth covered with beasties that they use for training purposes, or maybe to punish people, or maybe that's just where nightmares live. But it's interesting.
I think that definitely falls into the category of have we challenged ourselves? Yeah, getting through that thing.
Yeah. Also being truthful, I guess, for me, being honest with you guys.
Congratulations.
Anyway, have we learned anything new about ourselves?
I've learned that I can be honest to you people. That's something new for Andre.
Excuse me.
well, our dramatic hook was to find Dream Piotr, which we have not done yet. Tom, do you want us to keep that as our dramatic hook? Okay.
You guys already kind of know that tonight when you go to sleep, that quest is going to begin.
Well, I completed mine because reveal my true self to you all. That was my secondary
Yep,
one.
I investigated some cathedrals. So that was.
Investigated the orphanage.
Did you?
Did I?
Well, I
You
tried
never
to.
went in them. You just looked at them from a distance.
Got a point.
Well, and also because you, right, it depends on how we put it. You didn't have a successful roll about the cathedrals either, did you?
So it
in a
wasn't as
sense,
high. It wasn't as high as yours, but it wasn't like a fail. It just wasn't as good as it
It
could have
wasn't the
been.
bottom tier. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know.
I can keep
I
it.
certainly didn't develop any magical defenses yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think a little bit of the difficulty in the game, this is meta, is all the names of things, keeping them a little bit straight. It's very likely that any clergy in any of the churches will know about most of the other clergy in any of the other churches. So if you mention
that's what I was thinking of doing, but
the bishop Chizenko, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's over there." That won't be a problem. I'm not really giving that away because it's just kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I had that idea myself, so I'll keep that dramatic hook.
I waited for you to go in, but you never.
And Dietrich, are you keeping your magical defenses? Dramatic hook?
I guess I'm at a disadvantage to pursue that without my cult library or general contact. So maybe I should look for something else.
Okay.
It also seems kind of like we know our next combat is in the dream space and not in the external world.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I should be looking for something more active in what we're doing.
Well, you've got yourself quite an arsenal of, your dreaming ability inside the dream world. So
yeah, no, it was waking time defenses that I was supposed to be looking into, but we haven't really. Being displaced has sort of changed the way we operate. Although I think we have a sort of a friend of the GRU now, which is nice. I mean, I wouldn't rely.
He has a vendetta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely once Kalenko destroyed.
It's the idea that there's somebody in the GRU that might look kindly upon any of us is a big advantage relative to the opposite, which I guess is Dieter or rather Andre. So I could probably use something new.
I think everyone but Ingolf, maybe. John, did you do your second?
No, because I had Teach the Dreamer advantage,
Oh.
which I didn't get around to doing. I mean, I can keep that because if we're doing more dream stuff next time, it seems silly.
Yeah, and I could pair up with and take learn the dreamer advantage, and then we
There you go.
maybe have impulse to stick, to actually get it into the game.
And
It is
Dieter
pretty
and I
handy.
need secondary.
Yes, I need.
Andre should learn how to not point guns at himself.
That is not
Is there any further investigation that we want to do in the waking worlds that Dieter and I can fail miserably at? Is it worth anything to actually go to where the old orphanage is, or do we feel like that's probably not going to gain us anything?
Well, we can't go to where the old orphanage was because we went there and it's gone.
Oh, okay. Well, I meant the actual location of it, but yeah, that's not going to do anything. Then.
Yeah, we had Diedrich, myself, and Andre.
Right.
It's just
We have determined, I think, effectively that there is no going there from here.
Okay.
Maybe it'll reappear after we, liberate the orphanage and the dream world.
I think there's more to look into along the line of there was like a new name mentioned in connection with Kalenko. I don't think we've heard before.
In connection with there was
the guy who was shutting down other orphanages to funnel children there.
Yeah.
That was
I have it right here under this cat. Gorodin.
Okay. Well, maybe Andre and I can look into that person.
Yeah, I'm confused about how Pagodin is acting as a bouncer there. I thought he was an orphan there.
Maybe an orphan was named after him.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe some of the orphans got big.
Or something.
What was the name of that person again? Sorry.
Gorodin.
I just put it in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't see it.
Which chat did you put it in?
In the Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry. It went into Andre. Sorry.
It's to me. Only I.
Garuden. Yeah, I don't like the way Zoom does that, where it's whoever wrote you last is who you write to, even if you think it's general. It always causes confusion.
You know what I'll do? When I get back, I will make a list of the characters and who they are. Yeah, the Pagodin thing is a mystery. Yeah, and this Garuden fellow sounds like a bigwig, and he or his family might be around. So that seems like a promising real world direction for sure. Also, you got the names of Kalenko's family.
Yeah, who's the missing daughter?
Her name is spelled. It's a Russian name. Alyona. Alyona. And then his wife was Yelena with a Y. And his other daughter was Katya. Catherine, probably. Katya.
Yeah, that sounds like a willing sacrifice. That's evil.
Catherine, Helen, and Alyona. I don't know what Alyona would be. Iona? John? Juan? Would that be a John? That's interesting. Joan. Let's find out.
I find it interesting that there are 3 women associated with this Kalenko and this orphanage, and there's those 3 women creatures.
Oh, that's what you were.
That's what I was. That was what I was alluding to in my vague message in the chat.
Yeah, 3 different ages, 3 different appearances, 3 women. Oh yeah, that's
The missing
eerie.
child, the older daughter, and the wife.
Aliona in Greek means a torch of light. Oh, that's interesting. It's also a derivative of Helen. Helen.
And so we have a dramatic code for Petra then. So
Yeah, I mean,
look
if
into
Dieter
this
wants to
Garudan.
Yeah,
part of that as well.
I'll have that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Then I think
this
we're all right.
Kalenko fellow and his associates.
Yeah.
All right, further line.
I have a personal goal while I'm in Russia is to contact my ex-wife, but that doesn't have to be a dramatic.
I thought you were avoiding her.
Yeah, he told us that, but
True.
he's still secretive in his ways.
Ex-KGB, ex-wife, ex-vegetarian, ex-assassin.
Yeah, but that's stuff that I haven't said.
All right. Shall we wrap it up there? Is that
Yep, I
everything?
think that's good.
Right. Our players included Matthew Sanderson, David Gasaway, Holly Buteau, Morgan Llewellyn, and Josh Harwood, with yours truly as the game master. We have a Discord server where you can chat with our other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastery. We provide audio versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the strange and terrifying world of KULT Divinity Lost. Until next time, good luck, and good gaming.